ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the May confabulation for the Golden State Second Amendment Council. Once again, we meet and greet and eat and have a good time. It's got a lot of good stuff to go through tonight. We have some great main speakers with some stuff that you probably haven't seen before. And if you did see it 4 or 5 years ago, it'll be new and fresh, I guarantee you, because we have new perspectives and new stuff that they've collected. Before we begin the true meeting, I would like to take a moment and just recognize someone for whom this might be their very first meeting. Is there anyone for whom it is?
That's in person.
Yeah. And come on, don't be bashful. This gentleman, sir, I don't recall you seeing you here before. Is this your first meeting? Yes, sir. First meeting? Sir, would you be kind enough to help me with a small project? Please come forward. First of all, on behalf of the club, welcome. Hope to see you many times again. And I need your help with a small project. Would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
All right. Cover.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sir, before you go, tell us a little bit about yourself, your name, and what brought you here.
Al William, longtime shooter, Vietnam vet, member of the Senate of Valley Rifle.
On behalf of the club, once again, please don't miss our barbecue. If you want to eat, you will eat very well. Mr. Varner is the master chef in the back. We have lots of assistants. And you get the chance to win not one, but 2 guns. So don't give up on that chance. All right. Sir. Is that a challenge? I don't know what the second gun is yet. I'm trying to figure out something that would be sexy different. So, in fact, maybe that would be a good subject. Okay, we've got a Ruger American in .308 scope rifle. But I'm thinking, we should do something different because we have the Weatherby SA-08 and it's a semi-auto shotgun. Maybe we should do something sort of military looking or sexy looking, like maybe another one of the 22s that look like an AR or something like that. Mike, you had a question about a Gatling gun. I just happen to have one in the GS2AC Armory. But your thoughts? I mean, we've got, we'll have a .357 revolver from the FNRA dinner, which would be nice. I guess the revolver went really good last time. What do you guys think? What do you want to have as a second gun? Any thoughts? And something less than $5,000, please. No. Oh. Okay, you raised the issue. Well, I'm waiting. I'm sorry?
Scar 17. FN Scar 308.
You just spited me, aren't you? You just Sterling. How about that's Mike? Yes. Our guest speakers might have some things in their archive that they just need to get rid of because they're just old. They don't get them around. They're taking up too much space. They need to refresh the archive. So we'll ask them. That'll be the first questions come from the audience. All right. The next step of the meeting is the soapbox. This is a chance for people to talk about stuff that we may not have talked about before. To begin with, our good friends here from the Friends of the NRA dinner are here to tell us about a new chance to spend more money and win more guns. Sir, please come up and tell us what's going on.
Thank you very much. You've seen me here before. There's a Friends of NRA dinner in Livermore. It's August 1st, so it's a little bit ways off, but we start basically our ticket sale push in June. So if you're interested, if you're going to be around August 1st, you're interested in going to a nice dinner, it's in Livermore. And on that subject, though, I'd like to also pitch to you guys, we're looking for volunteers, not necessarily to help with the Livermore dinner, but there's a dinner in San Mateo that could use some help, and there's a dinner down in Gilroy that also could use some help. So those are kind of like right in your backyard. If anybody's interested in helping out at a Friends of NRA dinner, being a committee member, please let me know. And there's everything from doing a lot of work, like the treasurer or the president's job, to just being a committee member and maybe selling a few tickets. So we've got a whole range, and we need, for those two dinners, we definitely can use any help.
And what are the perks for these high-powered positions?
I guess the camaraderie of being a friend. I mean, there really isn't. I mean, everybody buys their own tickets. You know, I'm chairman of one dinner and treasurer of another dinner, and I still buy my ticket just like everybody else.
So no free food. The ongoing committee members are consulted for what merchandise they bring and stuff like that. That's always been part of the
Yeah, there's always the fun of helping shape the dinner and what's going on.
No love, no.
Oh yeah.
You get to kiss one of David's models?
I can't really go there.
That's a no.
Yeah,
That's
that's a no.
Just part of the question.
You're starting to get into the fantasy world here.
Take the VR.
So anyways, August 1st in Livermore is the next dinner in the area. And there is the San Mateo dinner it's in September, so I think it's like the 23rd or something like that. And then the Gilroy was already happened this year, and it was a really bad dinner because we didn't have enough volunteers. So I'm looking for volunteers for the Gilroy dinner to push for next year to try to get that thing, build it up. So that's part of my job, is to help build the dinners. So, thank you very much.
Is Oscar here? Oscar's not here. All right, John, you had something that popped up that you wanted to make the community aware of. John, come on up. Welcome again.
Yes, sir. The floor is yours.
My name is John Cagliostro. I grew up in this town. Can you guys hear me? I had the pleasure of listening to a Debbie Bacigalupi speak a little bit ago, and she gave me this, and it says, "Dear Santa Clara County Supervisor, I am a landowner, voter, and driver in Santa Clara County. We, the people, did not vote for a road tax on 85. We voted to give VTA the authority to provide mass transit to alleviate road congestion. The VTA does not have legal authority to charge tolls on our freeways. Tell them you will not allow them to move forward with this plan. Surely the congestion can be addressed without charging us to drive on roads we already paid for," and then sign it, and I have the address and I can put it on the table.
Bottom line, if you're concerned about your taxes going up and stuff like that, this is something you might want to look into. Thank you, Sir John. All right, welcome new members. Yes, it's done. Meal receipts. Remember, folks, the way we keep the organization afloat is with a little bit of the green stuff. One of them is when you have a dinner here, if you save the receipt, we get credit for that, and we sell enough dinners, and then we get to use the room for free. This room is not cheap. So please, if you have a receipt, you bought dinner, you haven't turned it in, give it to Mike in the back or me up here. Okay, it's very important that we have those calculated, we make certain minimums. Also, and Matt, remember, we have the barbecue tickets are on sale. Now, as you voted a couple months ago, we did have to raise the price this year to $25. I don't know if any of you have been to the supermarket recently, but tri-tip that we used to pick up for about $3 is now almost $5 or higher, even on special. Pork, ribs I used to pick up for $1.65 to $1.99 is almost $3 or more. Even hamburgers up there. So there's just some costs we have to absorb. I held the line as long as I could, but we've got to make it up somewhere. So it's still $10 for 3 additional rifle tickets. Best deal out there that you're going to have, and the deal is still the best deal you're going to have out there. San Jose Gun Show. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a San Jose Gun Show coming up on the 27th and 28th at the Santa Clara County Fairgrounds. We need to have a table. We haven't had a table because with Sally disappearing off the face of the earth for running the TNS gun shows, that's shut down. That no longer is there, so we have to go there. We'll probably have a table outside the first time we do this. But we do need people out there. We need to be interfacing with the people in the public. We are not getting as many people signing up and showing up and stuff like that. We've got to do some outreach. So, like I said, this is June when this is going to happen, but I need to know if there's a couple folks that can help me get out there. Basically, sell barbecue tickets, tell them about what we're doing, get them to sign up. If we pick up another 30 or 40 names in the weekend, it's not hard at all, but we definitely need to get that done. We need to be in the community. We need fresh blood. People are coming to the gun show. It's a good chance for them to come to us rather than have to us go out to them. So I have a few people who will usually volunteer for that. Is there anyone for whom they would be interested? It's a Saturday. It's a Saturday after our meeting in June that would be able to help out with the gun show table. Anybody? Yes, sir.
When you volunteer for that, you still get free entry to the gun show, is that correct?
Don't know yet. We haven't worked that out with the promoter as yet. Okay, we have to work that in. So if anybody that can help out on that weekend with the gun show table, Sunday afternoon, okay. Anybody else? Name, sir?
Brad Alexander.
Okay, and Saturday, Sunday?
Late for Saturday.
AM, PM? Okay.
I'll start with the morning if you need afternoon, let me know.
We'll just play it by ear. Morning's usually really, really busy. It's a good time to set up and get stuff done. Before you go tonight, please make sure you give me your contact information so we can communicate with you. Anybody else? Mr. Gordy. Gordy, Sundays? Okay, perfect. Okay, so that's the first start. I will be pitching this again at the next meeting. A question for the ages. Can anyone here tell me how far a Jeep Cherokee will coast down Cuesta Grade without a transmission? There's your answer.
All the way.
No. I can tell you.
Your Jeep Cherokee?
My Jeep Cherokee, yes. 10:30 at night, going down the grade, and all of a sudden, woo! And all of a sudden, there's no traction. And believe it or not, it wasn't the transmission; it was the transfer case. So I can tell you that you can go within a half mile of Monterey Road. I can also tell you that at 10:30 at night, you still have a chance of getting the last hotel room in San Luis Obispo on Memorial Weekend. At a hotel that is right next to a Denny's, which is just across from a place that I went into, and they were just shutting down for the last beer of the night. I'd say a lot of fortunate things happened there, and I actually got a tow truck at a reasonable hour. So there is hope out there. There is hope out there. Okay, enough of that silliness. Now, on to the Vice President report, Mr. Brad Cyphers. Yay!
Not too long, but it's a little complicated, so I want to bring up my notes here on it. Where's my notes? There we go. A couple of magazines ago of the USCCA, the Concealed Carry magazine, they had an article on what they called stupid carry. On my, as a variation on my theme of the moron report, I'm going to do a report on stupid carry here. So there have been some recent cases of stupid carry. The first one, the stupidest one, a guy was carrying his gun in his pocket, without a holster, just in his pocket, just by itself, reached in to get his keys or whatever, went off, obviously striped his leg, but also fragmented and hurt 3 other people. And so that's stupid. You don't carry a gun in your pocket without a holster. When and if you can carry a gun in California, but even I know many of you have out-of-state concealed carry licenses. So when you do carry, you got to carry with a holster. The second one was a sad story. Lady had a concealed carry license. She carried in a special purse that had the concealed carry pouch in it. She was at the store and put the purse in her shopping cart next to her 2-year-old. The 2-year-old pulled the gun out, and she didn't notice, and pulled the gun out and shot her and killed her. And so that's a tragic, sad story, but you got to keep your gun under control, especially when you got little kids around. You just got to keep control there. Another example, one I've heard, there was a year or 2 ago, a cop had a gun that he carried in a shoulder holster, but it was a shoulder holster where the gun points straight back. It's not the kind where the gun points down. Well, his friends and girlfriend, whatever, ran up behind him and grabbed him from behind and somehow managed to hit the gun and trigger it, and it was pointing straight at her and went straight through her heart and killed her. No matter, even if you've got it in a holster, you've got to keep it safe, and you've got to have it pointing in a safe direction. Pointing straight back it's just a bad idea. It's not safe. The next one was just a month or 2 ago, I think it's probably about 2 months ago now. They had what's called a bra holster, one where it goes up, it attaches basically to the bra, the clasp in the front, and you reach up inside your shirt this way and pull it out. And a lot of women like that because it doesn't show a bulge in their hip or doesn't ruin their lines, but they still have easy access to it. Well, she was adjusting the grip or the position of the thing, pulled it out, tried to put it back in, and looking down straight at it, and shot herself right in the face and killed herself. Pointing at carrying a gun where you're pointing at yourself or anybody else is just not a bad idea. A good idea. Another one I've heard of, I don't know any specific recent instances, but I know that it has happened. I've read articles about it. It's called the underarm holster. This shirt would be good for an underarm holster. It goes up here, and basically the barrel's pointing right at your, I'm not sure what this artery is called, but your artery right under your arm. And people would put their gun in their holster, try to holster it while it's in place, and the gun went off, and if the bullet hits you in the artery right up here, there's no pressure point that they can get. They can't stop it. You're bleeding out. You've got a few minutes to live, and you're just done. So that's just, I've seen ads for that kind of holster. That's not a good idea. The other one that's obviously stupid is just putting it in your pants and anywhere, in your waistband without a holster. For guys especially. Well, if you're lucky, you won't just lose your family jewels. You'll lose your whole family tree. Yeah. But if you're not lucky, you're going to hit your femoral artery, and again, you're going to die. So you got to be safe when you're carrying. I know that you guys all do your best to be safe, but when you're buying holsters to carry, keep that in mind. Keep up. You get a hold pointing down, pointing in your ankle, away from your body parts, always under your control, out of reach of children or anybody else. Be safe. Don't let accidents happen. Besides being a tragedy, it's bad news for us, for the gun community. It just makes us look bad, and we don't want to give the other side ammunition. So that's it. That's what I got. Yay! Thank you. We've got gun safe lives bags in the back as well. So if you want to buy some of those, go ahead. Thank you.
I forgot one of the soapbox items. Mr. Varner, Green Wings.
Thanks, Mark. Another one of our events
events that we do every year. Gabe, the former owner of Curly Sporting Goods, puts on the Green Wings, the Ducks Unlimited Youth Day. We used to do it up at Lake Merced. For those of you who don't know, there was a shotgun club up on Lake Merced. It has now been closed down. They've lost their lease. For the last couple of years, Gabe has moved it to his property on the way over on 92 to Half Moon Bay. So on the coast side of Half Moon Bay, we have a property. Every year we put on Green Wings. It's an event for the kids. We supply the air gun range. There's also decoy painting, birdhouse building, archery, hunting dog demonstrations. A lot of nice activities for the kids, and it's all free. They get a hot dog lunch and lots of great prizes. Tents, Red Ryder BB gun, archery kits. If you have kids, bring them to this event. It's free. They just ask that you call and register ahead of time so they can plan their food. And it's on the same weekend as the gun show, June 28th, day after Father's Day. Vince Moldry over here, he heads up the air gun project. But we do need a few more volunteers because I want to have one instructor for each position. We normally run 5 positions plus a range master. So Vince, what do we have? You, myself, one other. We need at least 2 or 3 more people.
I might have 2 more.
Okay, I'd like to get 3 volunteers. It's a nice morning. Okay, come see me at the table before the meeting's over. I'll get you the information, and if anyone else is interested, please see me in the back. I'm supposed to have flyers. I didn't get a chance to print them up, but if you want to leave me a phone number or an email, I'll get you a flyer so you can get the kids. And let your friends know it's a great day. Thank you, Mike. Any questions?
Okay. Secretary report, Madam Carolyn Seidel.
Last Wednesday, there was an interesting article in the paper. I don't know whether anybody saw it because it wasn't exactly in front. It was in Hartford, Connecticut, and the feds were investigating Connecticut gun maker after agents found nearly 3,000 assault rifle parts, missing serial numbers, in his possession. Now, they had already been paying attention to him anyway because he was very vocal about stringent gun laws following the Newtown shooting. So he really should have been a little more alert than he apparently was. Anyway, when they went in, they seized nearly 300 of the AR-15 parts from Stag Arms in September following routine inspections, prosecutors said. At the time, the father of Stag Arms owner told authorities that the employee who places serial numbers on parts was on vacation. I'm not sure that's a real good excuse.
My dog.
Anyway, the New Britain-based gun maker gained a high profile in the state when he became vocal about the gun laws. Allegations that they had violated the National Firearms Act came in a forfeiture request filed by the prosecutors May 6th. Prosecutors asked the judge to allow the government to keep nearly 110 of the seized assault rifle parts for the, quote, use and benefit of the United States, unquote. So I wonder if maybe they didn't quite learn anything from Fast and Furious because they weren't exactly, nobody had to actually pay for that. It didn't seem like anybody got any bad action on that. But anyway, this is kind of an ongoing thing, and I think the moral of that story is, if you're going to speak up and put yourself in a place where you get their attention, and you're dragging a little chain on the guard dog, maybe you should be sure that your backyard is really cleaned up really well before they come in and visit you. There's a lot more to it, but that was kind of the basic part of it. The other little item I have is not specifically gun related, but I thought it was sort of funny. It happened in Norway. So a recent contract for murder case in Norway came down hard on a hitman who got cold feet. He stalled repeatedly and was sued, if you can imagine, by the payer who won a jury verdict for unrequited killing. Then, because the hitman had attempted to extort more money from the payer to find a suitable killer, the hitman was fined $1,200. So I thought that was sort of interesting.
Hey, Mr. Moneybags, Mr. Darren Bicker.
Well, they're passing those out. On the back table there, the one I was sitting at next to where I guess Alan Denny's sitting now, there's some flyers out there. Some of you folks, I missed last month's meeting when Sam Prentice was here. I figured there's no reason for me to give a legislative report when the head of GS2AC was here. For those of you who haven't been around, there's a problem with local gun control legislation going on, and we have a group of about 15 people that are watching half the cities in the county. What got it started was what they passed in Sunnyvale 2 years ago, which was 4 clauses of forfeiture of previously owned high-cap grandfather magazines, the need to report a loss of a gun within 48 hours of when you should have known to be turned by a jury, leaving your gun unloaded or locked up in the home unless it's on your person, and registration, name, address, quantity, caliber of ammo you buy from stores in Sunnyvale, they have to report it, which is within the public domain under like your gun records are. It's a great deal of stress. There's actually a flyer back there for the store. There's a Big Five and U.S. Firearms Company up there. They're taking a bad beating, so give them any attention you can. Also on that table is a stapled package. If you folks haven't been in the loop on this, most of you already have seen it. I'm just repeating here. All the newsletters and stuff that bring you up to date on who's doing what to who. Okay. We also have some of the little booklets. Anybody got one handy? The little law booklet from the Sunnyvale thing. It's Chuck Michelle's office had to write a 90-page booklet to tell people how to stay out of trouble for 4 paragraphs in that ordinance that passed. The problem with it is they put it on the ballot, and once it goes on the ballot, it's like running a campaign. You do a political action committee. We still don't have one organized, but it's something we have to watch out for. So eyes out for that. There's also some brochures there that the group wrote, because when you go to a public hearing on this stuff, there's certain things you can tell them. There's a flyer I have out there from Chuck Michelle. At every major shooting in the last 20 years, including Columbine and Newtown, there was one or more parents or people got shot where somebody else had said, this is stupid. If it wasn't a gun-free zone, it wouldn't have been a problem. We wanted to have guns. There's a little literature there. And we also have a little brochure that relates all the Supreme Court history on why the police have no individual duty to protect you in advance. And it explains what can and can't happen. In 2011, for 911 calls placed on cell phones in California, there was 267,000 of them that were not responded to at all. So 20 people are on their own. The sheet we handed out listed the bills. You haven't heard a lot about gun control bills this year. There's about 15 pro-gun bills worth looking at. If you go to the CalNRA, everybody remember the one-click site, it's up and running. You'll see there's 4 bills on there. Right, you have extra copies left? So that's what we handed out. I have a tendency to assume that folks are gonna not do everything we ask them to do, so I prioritize. It's great that there's pro-gun bills there and be happy if people worked on it, but the one-click email will make a difference. Next Saturday, June the 6th, any bill that's there that's still in their house of origin, so if the assembly bills are still in the assembly, they die then, which means we're off the hook for the rest of the year. That would be a good thing. The Senate bills that die in the Senate stop also on the 6th of June. Any bill that gets moved out of the first house to the other, we're going to continue to fight until August 31st. So the 4 bills I'd like to bring your attention to, and these are anti-gun bills. The first one, you want to wonder why it's a big deal that they're restricting ivory possession. There's restrictions on modern ivory possession to stop the poaching of elephants and other animals like that. The problem is, in order to do that, and the knife people who are hot on this and the gun people are, let's say you happen to own a pistol that has real ivory handgrips on it, or a knife. Okay. It used to be that you didn't have to prove it other than it was in the last 20 years. Now basically, going back to 1900, unless you can show that it's older than 1900, you have to prove you have the ivory legally, which means possessing it on a firearm that it came with or whatever becomes a matter of proving. So it's a law we don't want to go through because it's an overreaction to the ivory problem. You just need to make sure you have people coming in, not go through people's collections. It's a little like finding an 89-year-old World War II veteran that's got a gun that he didn't know needed to be registered as of 15 years ago. Okay. So in fairness, that one should be resisted. The ones with the X's on there, okay, there's one called AB 1134, and it was basically because in San Mateo County, all the cities made a deal with the sheriff to process CCW permits, okay? Which is fine if he doesn't, but if he doesn't, according to state law, you're allowed to go to the city you live in and or the sheriff, unless you're not incorporated. San Mateo did that. They made an agreement, so now you can't actually apply there. If the sheriff turns you down, you're done. So they're trying to change the law so it becomes legal for these agreements. It may be more efficient to have the sheriff do it, but the bottom line is you lose one of your two options if you live in a city.
Well, so I have a question about that because years ago when I tried to get a license in Sunnyvale, when I wanted to find out what the process was, I called the sheriff's department and they said, "Oh, you've got to go to your police chief." And they said, "And then if your police chief turns you down, then come to us and then we'll process it." Well, obviously they would have turned it down too.
And they would have double dipped on the charges they hit you with, yeah.
And, yeah. So I'm not sure how this affects.
Well, if you live in the city and your police chief says no and you're out of options, would you like to be able to go to the sheriff if the law says you can?
Well, so
it's your option. You don't have to do it.
What my understanding was that the police were going to just basically go to the sheriff themselves.
In specific cases like that, that's the whole point. That's what they're doing. But to stop the runaround, the law currently says you have the right to do either. How many of you have seen the CCW page at calgunsfoundation.org? If you go to their website, they got a page called LTC License to Carry. Their community in individual counties, including the lead guy, is keeping track of the paperwork, what's going on. Now, to give you an example in San Mateo County, the police chief in Pacifica tried charging $900 to accept paperwork. Now, the sheriff had already agreed to process the papers. All the city was supposed to do was collect the $100 fee and turn it in. They didn't do it. So the nice thing about the agreement, which is why I'm not entirely sure that I want to, I'm happy with it worked because we called the deputy sheriff in charge of that thing. He called Pacific and Pacific said, whoops, when they got through with them, they stopped doing anything. They said, we'll just give the paperwork. They stopped cheating. So there's some advantage, but right now the law says you have the right to do both if you live in a city, and this would preclude you to give them a chance to play more games. So that's why there's a request from NRA and CRPA and GS2AC to vote against it. Okay. All right, the third one is SB 347 greatly expands the list of those misdemeanors that lose your gun rights, and I think personally, if it's a felony, you should lose your rights. If it isn't, this is kind of nonsense. So just on general principles, I didn't read through the whole list, but it adds many more categories of difficulty that give you the lifetime prohibition under the Lautenberg funding bill from 96 or 98. The last one is they've got a law that lets them say that within a certain distance from schools, a CCW holder can't have a firearm. Well, that can include you if you live within 1,000 feet, and it brings adjacent properties, sidewalks, access, and so on in there. So it's basically expanding the zone of the unarmed zones, which is what Newtown was all about. So those four bills are gun control. It's AB 96, AB 1134, SB 347, and SB 707. When you go to the one-click page, which is calnra.com, you click on the box. It will take you down to an email tool. Unless you're using webmail, if you have an email client on your desktop, it will pop up in a box. You send one message, and it sends it to every office holder that's on the vote on that now. And when it changes, it'll do that.
But it doesn't operate as webmail.
Right, it doesn't operate with webmail. What happens then is it'll pop up in a box. You want to take the WHO address line out, copy and cut, then you'll put it into your webmail. It's still not that tough, but the bottom line is, towards session closes when it's on the floor, in the case of the assembly, those assembly bills are in front of 80 guys, of which 78 have email. So by sending one email on each of these bills regularly, and maybe your wife's and your kids and whatever, you begin to pile the numbers up, and it's one of the causes. So the main times we do it are when bills first hit their committees, when they have to get out, once they're out, we're at a loss. This week, because now they have to get to their house, or we're at a loss. And then in August, we're closing into the session where they pass most of them on that Friday night at the end. Then we have to go to the governor. So the other ones that are in there, there are some program ones, including, you remember the thing about the new domestic violence restrictions where a neighbor, a cop, a friend, it was over that thing that happened in Santa Cruz, and it basically let somebody say that you're a danger or whatever. Chuck Michelle was okay with it the way it was written because they had some pretty strong restrictions on people doing it abusively. But this bill, where are we here? Gun 8950. It basically makes it a felony to falsify a claim like that to harass somebody that has a firearm and try and get the restraining order on it. So if you go to their webpage, what you see on the sheets on the top, the one clicks on the bottom, and in the middle is the text of all the bills, and you'll see them colored for do something or they're static. Click on the details, look at it if you want the information. But that's a hot thing to do right now, and we really appreciate this. And one of the weeks it'll make a difference, running all the way up to next Saturday the 6th. So, okay. What else have we got? At this point, that's the only one I'm worried about, but we also discussed last month in email, and I wasn't at the meeting. The cutoff deadline for a city to put a ballot initiative into the county's package to go to the November thing ends either in late June or, Bill, do you remember, June or July? The year they did it in Sunnyvale, they dropped it in June, and that was the meeting. The city lawyer kept saying, we got to do this tonight, we got to do this tonight, because it couldn't go there. So we started watching for that. Last year, under the public speaking section, Sally Lieber, a former assemblywoman and mayor, tried pushing it in Mountain View, but they ignored her. Last month I sent an alert for people that they've not taken the time to look at their agendas of their city council. We appreciate the help right now. There's about 8 or 10 cities we got covered. There's 17 down here. And this month and next month in June, I think, are the months where they can pass that and put it out. So we want to be able to know what happens and get a response from Chuck Michelle. So we still have our little email address of alerts at s3cs2fs.org, and it's on the brochures back there too, to let us know so we can get some reaction and stop it. But basically we figure if we get to July, we've got breathing room for another year. So far they haven't done it since 2 years ago, but if they put it in the ballot, we're going to have to get the dealers to spend money and organize a political action committee. We're going to have to fight it tooth and nail. We're going to have to sue them at the Secretary of State's office, because last time they didn't have valid signatures and so on. So if you get a chance to sign up for the agenda from your city and you can read through the sections on it and find out and let us know, you send a message to GS2AC, they can get it to me. But that email address, which you get that posted, or maybe get it on your website somewhere, it alerts our volunteer team and Chuck Michelle's lawyers right now. We don't want there to be a time delay. We only get 3 days notice of a public meeting. So Chuck Michelle is paid and ready to do this stuff, but we have to stay on top of it. So if anything, before you run off for your summer vacations, check your city's agendas. If we get to July 4th, we're probably good. But if this thing gets back on the ballot and spreads, you're gonna, I gotta hurt the truthful. The stores that are hit with this thing, where they make them register ammo, their gross business is down 50%. Because people go online, they see the problem about buying ammo, they never show up. So I got 2 stores, one in Mountain View, one in Sunnyvale, and the one in Mountain View is going just gangbusters, and the one in Sunnyvale is trying to keep enough work going to pay his employees that have got kids and families. So it's a nasty thing that happens, it's a big lie, and it's similar to what they did in the state of Washington, state of Colorado, they're doing next year in the state of Nevada. They have initiatives that the press won't tell our side. Bloomberg's got all the money in the world to do it, and it only costs $3 a head to get signatures from somebody, like kids and people they pay to sit in front of Safeway. So with the money they've got, they can put it on the ballot anywhere. We want to hold the feet to the fire net, make sure they do it legally. We want to see it come and we want to fight it. Because the way it is right now, if they use that system and we don't respond, they can pass anything they want. It was such a big deal that the Republican committee in this county 2 years ago voted to stand with us and spend $20,000 to stop it. Because if you only got 23% Republicans, they're going to pass this stuff right and left here. So please pay attention to that and let us know if something happens. If it doesn't, have a good summer. But it is a peak point right now to watch out for. Thanks.
Okay, and let's see. We have a webmaster report, Mr. Frederick Hoot. And Mr. Frederick, you're supposed to shake the hand back and forth like the old, it's just on TV. You know that.
Well, I was going to say no. But Mike Varner, I gave him a huge 3 terabyte drive, and he hooked it up to his computer, and about 1/3 of it is full with videos of the past meetings. So I've been working, putting up the meetings on our YouTube channel. So you go to GS2AC.com, sorry, YouTube.com/GS2AC. You go to our YouTube channel, and you'll see a couple videos up there, and you'll see even more in the future.
And once again, if there's anyone who has digital skills, IT skills, etc., Fred's always looking for someone to assist in what he does. It's pretty straightforward. Even a techno primitive like me, I am told, can learn what to do. But assistance with the website, very helpful. So please, if you have a second or two, talk to Fred. I'm sure he'll give you some help. Okay, moving on. Let's move on to our featured guest speakers.